Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Amara from Giant Stride Media, and I help natural and sustainable brands in health, wellness, and apparel to demystify growth as well as avoid spending time and money on ineffective marketing strategies. But enough about me. In this video, I'm going to be sharing 4 powerful ideas on how you can boost the revenue of your fashion store without spending an extra dime on ads. And the way you're going to go about this is by improving the conversions of your website. So let's dive in, shall we? Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing 4 powerful ways for you to boost your conversions, especially if you're in fashion apparel. So these 4 ideas, as you're going to notice, they're all based on one single word: trust. How can you increase the level of trust in your prospects so they can go ahead with the conversions? One thing to bear in mind is that when someone is shopping for clothes, an experience that makes it as close as possible to a real life experience is what's going to aid conversions. So what can you do in your store to really put the person in a situation where, it's as close as possible to them just walking down the store and getting into a clothing shop, going into the changing room and choosing an item for themselves. So these are what these 4 ideas are going to be focused on. So let's dive in, shall we? So the first one we're going to touch on is product images. And what do I mean by product images? Because you might think, well, of course, product images, we need to have product images. But what I mean by this is that you need to have powerful images that demonstrate, the clothes and the fabrics used to make them. So you're not just having like product shots, but you have to have images that really demonstrate, the value adds, that the reason why the customer should buy the clothes. In order to make this possible, what you want to do is, in addition to using single product shots, you also want to use model shots to demonstrate how the clothes will actually look whilst they're worn. Because there's one thing to just have a product shot, but it's also another thing to have a model that demonstrates modeling the clothes and demonstrating how it would look in real life. And also, one thing you want to do is have a zoom in functionality. So people should be able to zoom in into the clothes to really appreciate the craftsmanship and the quality of the fabrics that are used to produce the clothes. Also, what you want to do is, if you have value adds, if your core value adds are around sort of sustainability, let's say you're really using high quality constructions in making your clothes, then you want to have images or product shots that zoom into this, that really accentuates these qualities and bring them to the surface. And finally, what you want to do is make sure you're using dynamic color swatches. And I'm going to use a brand that I really like. I think that they're the forefront of making sure that they have all of these things checked off on their website, and they're called And Other Stories. So I'm just going to pop over to their website to show you how they've used these things to increase, the experience of customers on their store. So the first one we talked about is using product images to really demonstrate, the quality of the fabrics you're using, to demonstrate how the clothes are being worn, or how the clothes should be worn in real life, or how they look whilst they're worn in real life. And you can see over here, rather than just having an image of just the product itself, what they've done is they've have a model here that's actually demonstrating it as well. Also, they have a zoom in functionality here, so it's very easy for me to see the clothes in detail. The finishing, obviously people really care about finishing, especially when you're paying quite a bit of money, £95 for a piece of clothing. You want to make sure that the finishing looks really good. So zoom in functionality enables you look into that as well. And one thing I talked about is making sure that you have images that really dive into the value add. So for example, here you can see that they're selling a cardigan that has embroidered statement color, and what they've done is brought this to the surface by having a product shot or a product shot that really brings this to the surface, right? So as you can see, they've really just zoomed in on this embroidery, and this is something you want to do. Rather than just having this, you want to have models that demonstrate it and also zoom into key features that are selling points for that piece of clothing. And last but not least, you want to make sure that you're leveraging swatches, so dynamic color swatches. So over here, you can see that once I change this, automatically you can see that the images change as well. This is really important. I've seen a couple of clients and quite a few brands out there who are leveraging this. Of course, they have the swatches in there, but they're not actually linked to the product images, and this could be costing you quite a bit of money. So we're done with product images, and the next one I want to share with you is sizing guides. Now with sizing guides, what have I said here? I've said nothing else comes close or has a more direct relationship with customer satisfaction, repeat business, and operations. And you might be thinking, this is a bit of a bold statement, isn't it? So nothing else has a closer relationship to customer satisfaction and repeat business? Well, let me explain why. So when you go shopping, you pick something off the rack and you want to figure out whether it's something that would work for you, whether it's going to fit really nicely. The next thing you do, or we all do, is to head to the clothes to changing room, right? So we head to the fitting room to put it on, look in the mirror and see exactly how it looks. Well, the thing is that you can't actually do this on an e-com store, right? So when you're browsing an e-com store and you put something into your cart, how do you know that this clothes is actually going to fit when you receive it? So the next best thing to a changing room is a sizing guide. And a lot of people don't have sizing guides, and people who do have sizing guides, they fit a lot of information in there, which makes you feel like you need to be Rain Man to decipher, or woman to decipher the information in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share some of the best practices around sizing guides so you can get this right on your store. Because if you get this right, you're going to improve customer satisfaction. People are going to be pleased with the experience. And if people realize that the sizing guides are actually up to scratch, so they looked at the sizing guides, they made the decision based on the sizing guides, and when they receive the clothes fit, then they're more likely to actually purchase from you again. So that's repeat business. And from the operational point of view, well, you're going to be receiving less returns. So the less returns, the better for your operation. So let's dive in, shall we? The first one I have in here is tables should be lightweight and straightforward, right? So they shouldn't be too complex. What you want to do is have tables that don't have too many columns, right? So keep it simple. And if you find that you need to include more things in a table, I would say have multiple tables down rather than one table with a lot of stuff in there. And I'm going to show you an example of this. And one thing you want to make sure is that your content, so your sizing guides, are actually responsive for mobile. As we know, the majority of traffic online comes from mobile, so you want to make sure that these sizing guides are responsive on mobile as well and allow you to zoom in. And last but not least, you want to make sure that you have, guides in there, so simple images and anatomical images that show exactly what those measurements indicate. So the areas of the body that the measurements indicate. So I'm going to show you exactly what this looks like. So let's go over to And Other Stories, because they've done a good job of this. And here's the sizing guide. So what they've done is they've have one sizing guide that shows you exactly, what the sizes are. And over here, we've got Europe. And they're showing you the parts of the body that this sizing guide is looking at. So, and everything here is in centimeters. So they've got this over here. And what they've got over here is a conversion table. So actually what they've done is they've got this one mostly for all of their clothes. So they've got a generic sizing guide, and they've got one here for denim. And what they've got here is a conversion table and some sort of an anatomical image that shows exactly what they're referring to if there's any sort of doubt. What I would do is, rather than just have one generic table, which they have over here across every single product page, I would customize this, because not every single piece of clothing would have the same sort of guides, if that makes sense. So I'll show you another brand that has customized this and looks slightly better than this. But this is really good. What they've done here is they've basically broken down the tables. Rather than having everything in one table, they've broken it down to say, hey, look, this is what it would look like for dresses, for sweaters, shirts. If you're looking for denim, this is what you would, these are the sizing guides for denim. These are the conversion tables if you're shopping from somewhere else in the world. Let's say you come from the UK or Italy or France or Spain. Here's what you should expect, and this is actually what we're referring to if there's any doubt. So what I would do is I want to show you what a sizing guide that isn't up to scratch looks like. So this is a suboptimal sizing guide. I'm sorry, Gap, but it's got to be done. So here's what a suboptimal sizing guide looks like. You can see this looks like some sort of a mathematical table. It's, unless you spend quite a bit of time, it can be hard to decipher exactly what they mean, what all these sizing metrics mean. So what you want to do is just to make sure that yours is simple to decipher. Rather than have everything in one table, break it down into different tables. So over here you can see they've tried to combine the sizes as well as sizes for different countries in one table, which has made it a lot more complex. So what I would do if I was Gap I will break it down into something simple like this. Have one core area of the world that you want to refer to. Could be the US, UK, Europe. And then map out the sizes over there for each part of the body. And then have a different table that refers to the conversions. So you can do conversions for the US, UK. And I'm going to show you another brand that has done this really well. So let's have a look at Topshop. So Topshop have done a good job of this. As you can see over here, they've got the measurements in one table, they've got the international conversions in one table, and they show you exactly what they're referring to. I love this. And another reason I love this is because they don't have a generic sizing guide. So this is specifically for this dress over here. As you can imagine, if they have like trousers, they'll have an inseam, they'll have an inside leg length. But because this is a dress, they didn't have that here. And that's something that I guess stores could do better, is rather than have everything in one sizing guide, all the measurements, they just make it specific to that piece of clothing they're referring to. So as I said, they've got the measurements, international conversions, and the part of the body they're referring to. But one thing I like that they've done is that they've also provided a calculator here, so I can pop in my details and it would show me, it would recommend a size, because it can be quite, you can imagine not everyone loves going through these tables, so you just got to be wary that some people may not be big fans of analyzing data in tables. So to provide a functionality for them to provide you with their measurements and then recommend a size. And this kind of, I guess the attitude that we want to move towards is, rather than saying, hey, here you go, here's all the details, figure out your size, is basically say, hey, what are your measurements? Let me help you find your size, right? So that's kind of the mindset that we want to be moving towards. So that's sizing guides, and the next thing on the agenda to talk about is shipping and returns. Now with shipping and returns, what you want to focus on here is making sure that your policies are highly persuasive and easy to understand, because at the end of the day, people want to know whether they can return stuff when they buy, and how easy is going to be to return stuff. Is it going to be a cumbersome process, or is it going to be as easy as what they used to on Amazon? Because Amazon has now set the standard for returns, right? So what you want to do in terms of shipping is that you want to look at how you can offer free shipping. And I know this may not be possible for every single brand. Let's say if you're selling pairs of socks, right, and the socks cost $2, it'll be quite challenging to offer free shipping on that pair of socks, right? Because it might cost you $4 or $5 to ship that. So it may not be possible for you to offer free shipping on all items. But what you want to do is figure out what your average order value is. And if someone places an order that's over the average order value, then you can offer them free shipping. And given the fact that now, as I mentioned before, Amazon has set the standard for shipping with the next day delivery if you're a Prime member, you also want to offer customers the option of a next day delivery or 2-day delivery, right? Yeah, sure, they have to pay a bit more, but having that option could also increase your conversions. And the third thing I've got here is to provide free returns. And one way to do this is to facilitate this is to include a returns label in the packaging, and partner with a provider like Hermes in order to do it. And I know Hermes works in the UK. I'm not really sure which provider would work in the US, but Hermes works really nice in the UK. So if you want to facilitate returns for your business, I would say use them and offer free returns. That would really help you with conversions as well. And one thing as well is that once people have asked for a refund, what you want to do is to process the refunds within 5 days. So then let people wait for a month or 2 months in order to get their money back, because this is going to damage your reputation as well as reduce return purchases. So you want to have return buyers, and one way to do that is to have people have a good experience with you and know that they can actually return stuff if they don't like it. And before we move forwards, I just want to share how you should be displaying your returns and shipping policies. So some brands make it very difficult for people to find where their policies are. So I would say just make it really clear, what the details are. So over here you can see, they've included all the details in here about shipping and returns. So this is something you can also do. Another brand I've got. So there's another brand that has done a pretty good job of simplifying it. So I know in some cases you might not be able to add all the details in here, but let's go to Never Fully Dressed to show you what they've done. All right, so check out their bestsellers. So over here, Now, if you've got a situation where you can't put all the details in the accordion over here, what you can do is just provide linked. So what you could do is just provide links to where that information is. So over here, you can see that they've provided links to where the delivery and shipping details are, and people can go over here and see those details. So just wanted to share how potential options for displaying these on your store. So the next thing we're going to talk about is customer reviews. Now, as mimetic creatures, we feel more comfortable doing what others have done successfully, right? As much as everyone would like to think they're individuals and make their own decisions, we all copy each other, and it helps to have social proof on your site so that people can see that others have bought your clothes and they've loved it, and they'll purchase again if given a chance. So what you want to do is have reviews on your site. I know this can be a bit of a hassle, especially if you're running your business and you're wearing so many hats. Trying to coordinate reviews or the review gathering process with your customers can be challenging. So what I would suggest is using a tool like Yotpo. Yotpo allows you to really systematize this process rather than emailing everyone. You can just have Yotpo send out emails to your customers, and then I'll show you over here what it would look like. So So what your customers would receive is an email like this, which is quite nice, and it can put a title for the review as well as the review. So this makes it really easy for you to gather reviews rather than you having to email customers one by one. And what Yotpo also allows you to do is to integrate the tool with your Shopify site, or if you're using WooCommerce, that's also possible. So that once someone posts a review and once someone posts a review and you review it, it gets posted on your site automatically. You don't have to do it manually. So I highly recommend checking out Yotpo so that you can automate and improve your review gathering process. Now, I mentioned I only had 4 things, but I've got one more thing for you, a bit of a bonus for you here. And this one is really important if you're not using it. So I'd say one way to improve your customer service is to incorporate live chat on your store. Now, if you've got a boutique or, physical location where someone can walk in, you would have your salesperson who can guide them through their purchasing decisions, and make it, easy for them to make a decision. However, when you're online, it's not very easy to do this, right? You can't have someone following someone everywhere they go on your e-com store and guiding them. So the next best thing is to have live chat. And, I've seen a lot of brands do this successfully. And what you want to do is install a live chat functionality or tool on your site, and have this pop up when people are on the site. Let's say, for example, you notice that someone has been on a product page for quite a while. Say for you don't want to give them a bit of time. Let's say after like 2 minutes, you want to then display this live chat. Pop it up and then ask them if they would like a bit of help with their purchasing decision. And you could also automatically pop this up and let people ask you questions. And if you're not online, give them the ability to enter the email address so that you can reach out to them later with an answer. So I'd highly recommend this because, doing so would boost your conversions, and that way you can serve more people at once, right? And this is something that actually you can't necessarily do because there is a limit to how many, people you can have in store, helping people out. But online, you can get people to ask you questions even when you're not available, and you can get back to them. And also, when you're chatting with someone online, there's also an opportunity for you to increase your AOV, because you might be able to make other recommendations of clothes that they could buy that could complement the clothes that they're looking to buy, right? So I would highly recommend doing this, and tools that I would suggest you look at are Gorgeous, Live Chat, and Shopify Chat. So thanks for listening, guys. I hope you enjoyed this rundown of ideas that would help you increase the conversions on your apparel store, your fashion store. And yeah, as I mentioned before, it's really all about increasing trust. And the way you increase trust is by making your store, in a weird way, as we move away from brick and mortar, is making your store have the look and feel of brick and mortar. So by doing so, you want to improve the product shots you have to give people a good understanding of what the clothes will look like in real life. You want to improve your shipping and returns policy, make it more persuasive. You want to improve your sizing charts, make sure your sizing charts convey the information in a simple, straightforward way, and make it responsive on mobile. And also, you want to make sure that you're incorporating customer reviews on your sites, because people are more likely to shop from you if they know that other people have done so successfully. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. And if you'd like more information on how to improve your store for conversions, be it a fashion store or any other e-com store, do consider subscribing. And until next time, take care.